Throughout history, knowledge rises and falls and ebbs and flows. What once was known is forgotten again, lost in time, sometimes for centuries, only to be rediscovered ages later. Millennia ago, the ancient Mayans studied the movement of stars and developed a calendar that has not lost a day in 2,500 years. It was an astronomical feat that would take many centuries to be repeated. During the height of the Byzantine Empire, warfare changed dramatically with the invention of a thing known as Greek fire, an incendiary weapon that could not be put out by dousing it with water. The recipe for making this strange, flammable concoction was lost by the 10th century and couldn't be discovered again until napalm was created in the 1940s. How did such knowledge become lost to antiquity? One example dates to the 1st or 2nd century when the legendary Library of Alexandria was burned to ashes. The library, founded in roughly 500 BC in Egypt, was said to have held over 1 million scrolls, a massive repository of handwritten knowledge like no other. It drew scholars from around the known world. The cause of its fiery destruction remains a mystery to this day. Some blame Julius Caesar, who set fire to Alexandria's docks. Others attribute its ruin to marauding Arab conquerors. Still, what is certain is that those flames incinerated a vast treasure house of secrets, knowledge from across the ages, lost forever. But some secrets refuse to be buried. Within the system we call the 5-minute system is one of those dark, mysterious pieces of knowledge, so dangerous that it could never fully be lost. Life on the planet Earth has always been a balancing act, a complex web of interconnectivity that's surprisingly fragile. Remove or even alter enough key components and that web begins to fray and fall apart. Such a collapse or mass extinction has happened 5 times in our planet's geological past. The first struck 400 million years ago when most marine life died off. The third event hit both land and sea at the end of the Permian period, wiping out 90% of the world's species, coming within a razor's edge of ending all life on Earth. The fifth and most recent extinction took out the dinosaurs, ushering in the era of mammals and altering the world forever. How close are we to seeing such an event happen again? Some scientists believe we're already there, neck deep in a 6th mass extinction. Every hour, 3 more species go extinct, totaling over 30,000 species a year extinct. Worst of all, the rate of this die-off is continually rising. At this very moment, nearly half of all amphibians, a quarter of all mammals, and a third of all reefs balance at the edge of extinction. Even a third of all conifer trees teeter at that brink. Why is this happening? In the past, such massive die-offs have been triggered by sudden changes in global climate or shifts in plate tectonics, or in the case of the dinosaurs, possibly even an asteroid strike. Yet most scientists believe this current crisis has a simpler explanation: human beings. Through our trampling of the environment and rise in pollution, mankind has been driving force behind the loss of most species. According to a report by Duke University released in May of 2014, human activity has driven species into extinction at the rate 1,000-fold faster than before the arrival of modern man. But what is less well known concerns a new and possible savior to all life on Earth, one that has risen out of the ancient past and will accelerate this current die-off or the recovery therefrom to possibly push us either over the brink or back from the brink of apocalypse. And not only is that threat or savior very real, it's rising right now out of our own backyards, or shall we say, our own back minds. Hello, I'm Anthony Dallmann-Jones, and this presentation is about the 5-minute system. It is that very thing that I am telling you is either the curse or savior of humankind. It is what goes on in here is what's making the difference. Let there be no doubt that the seed of extinction or birth of a great new era rests in here. It is not pollution. It is not the melting of the polar ice caps. It is not global warming. It is this. And this is going to save us or wipe us out off the face of the earth. That is why the 5-minute system exists. So here's what it is. It's a problem-solving tool. It's a self-transformative skill. It's a subconscious reprogramming method. It's a means of pain reduction, personal pain reduction. It's a personal growth accelerator. It's a manifesting procedure for creating different outcomes. Deliberate self-intervention. This is a seed in and of itself. A description and design and explanation of implementation of a seed of destruction or creation. Let's look at these different tools and skills that the 5-minute system offers. Problem-solving tool. It offers a 5-step process very clearly. It's organized, quite sequential, and it jumps gaps in another fashion in the sense that a problem is, I'm here, I need to be here, and the 5-minute process jumps that gap. It's a self-transformative skill. It awakens us to possibility. It awakens us to our potential to do things that we didn't think possible. And it helps us determine a new blueprint that we perhaps did not even know, probably didn't even know existed. It's a subconscious reprogramming method. This is that back of the mind thing where we discover through the 5-minute process a hidden back door, has a key to open that door, and then the ability to insert, once across that door frame, a positive viral meme, which will change everything from that point on into a new direction. It's a means of pain reduction, and personally, this would be one that most people would crave. It resolves separation between a need and its resolution. It speeds up the time between the pain and the solution. And it eliminates the anxiety from confusion and hopelessness because you have something that works. It's a personal growth accelerator. It takes obstacles and removes them. It smooths the road to your target, and it shortens the time needed to complete the path. It's a manifesting procedure for creating different outcomes. This is the part that people see as magic. And yes, it is. Simply it is. It's real magic, not trickery. You have to be involved in the process to see what that means. And yet it makes perfect sense. Well, what that means in words is it opens avenues to new possibilities. It changes what looks like certain destiny, and it alters the path from here to there in how to get to that destiny, that new destiny. It is the art of deliberate self-intervention. It establishes an internal locus control. It provides a roadmap and a steering wheel, and it encourages conviction and persistence because it works. Now, it's hard to describe here, but just basically, the 5-minute system procedure involves, first of all, finding out what the problem is. And there's several ways of doing that, through discussion, through estimating, and then a 20-reason exercise that's done partly with the subconscious mind to uncover the truth of what the problem really is. Once that's determined, then we move to the second stage, and we design the solution to the problem, which is the mirror opposite of the problem itself, which is why it must be clearly stated exactly what the problem is. Can't be off even a little bit, because if it's off, then the mirror image is going to be off. And you've just slowed everything down or even made it impossible to solve the problem. Then that mirror statement, that solution to the problem, is then shortened, cooked down into a very, very small thing we call a modifier. Then an environment, step 3, is created on the outside and on the inside for implanting that modifier in a 5-step procedure. From there come all those things that I mentioned before in terms of what the 5-minute system does and is. It asks of people who are going to use the 5-minute system to have the willingness to seek a solution. Believe it or not, people may talk about having a problem, but they really do not want to get rid of it. They're getting more mileage out of self-pity, complaining, drawing attention to themselves, trying to get sympathy. So they have to really want a solution. Then they have to have the ability, and why many people can't use the 5-minute system, because they do not have the ability to think abstractly. And that is a real evolved ability. Most people have it, and they may not realize it, and it can be uncovered. Some people are unable, not ready, unwilling, whatever, to think abstractly. Third, they have to be determined and have to have humility to admit they don't know everything yet. They have to be capable of persisting, of pushing on. There's always failures, always. Things are uncomfortable. The comfort zone is going to be tested several times. And you have to have persistence to break through to success. There's an old saying that says most people stop one step short of a miracle. I've seen it happen many times. Lastly, they have to have the courage to suspend disbelief. Oh, what does that mean? It means this could look silly, how this works. It could make you, if you exposed Well, you were doing it could bring you as a subject of ridicule to your friends. So part of the 5-minute system is secret. It's not like it's forbidden truth, but it's kept secret because it enables that courage to stick around, that ability to continue on despite the disbelief you might have for various reasons, many times social reasons. These are the timelines about how long it takes. Everybody wants to know, how long does it take? These are in units, so it could be minutes or hours, depending on everybody's different. So the discussion phase, let's just put it in minutes, takes 5 to 10 minutes. The problem preliminary statement, 1 to 2 minutes. The 20 reason sub rollout, 3 to 4 minutes. Problem statement, 1 to 2. Mirror statement, 1 to 2. And the mean construction, 3 to 5. That's the beginning phase to the middle, which is the mean foundation. Remember our stages 1, 2, 3. This is the middle. Takes you to the middle of the second one. And then implantation, there are several phases of that. You have to learn the 5 steps. It can take about 5 to 7 units or minutes. You have to set up your external environment. That's up to you how long it takes. I'm talking about a physical environment, a place where you can work, where you can use the 5-minute system. And then the internal environment, you got to get your mind right for it to work. This is the fertile field is in here. If you're going to alter it, it's got to be ready. Okay? And then a breathing pattern, or patterns actually use several, takes some time to learn and practice. And then every day, and where it gets its name, the 5 from, is every day you must sit in that environment on the outside and be ready on the internal environment 5 minutes every day to utilize the procedure. Now, there's a minute added on because it takes about 30 seconds to get situated, and it takes about 30 seconds to come out of it, so it's really about 6 minutes. But 5 minutes there you're involved. And then there's journaling, which you have to write down a couple of things every day. One is your experience during the 5-minute time period, and the other is to other things that have happened during the day that are of certain notice that you would be told about. So now you know the esoteric part, you know some of the historical reasons, you've seen what it can do, how it's done. What's left is to do it. Here are our offices. Our contact information. We have 2 offices, one in Panama City Beach and one in Wisconsin. This is yours truly, Anthony Dallmann-Jones, and my beloved wife, Amy Dallmann-Jones. We've been together since 1989. She is very much a part of the 5-minute system because it didn't start off as that. It started off as a desire to change the world, to help people work through pain faster or to avoid pain altogether. I had left a full-time and lucrative counseling practice to move to Wisconsin and marry Amy and take up a professorship at Marian University. One of the reasons was so I would have more time to write and research. Out of that came a book called The Phoenix Flight Manual, Rising Above the Ashes of Ordinary Existence. Amy was listed as a co-author. She helped do a lot of soundboarding, great ideas, editing, some manuscript work, and patient support, and brought me office snacks, and we had great dialogues. She's very much a part of the 5-minute system, which started off as the Phoenix Flight Manual, a problem-solving technique developed in 1989, 1990, 91, 92. We've done since then, conducted workshops, worked with clinics, worked with clients. We've done seminars, conferences. We've done experimental work with people. We've done trainings of counselors. We've been all over the world: Singapore, Rome, London, Birmingham, Alabama. Been on the road across the Midwest, San Diego, up the coast, workshops in Vancouver, back across through the Rockies. We've done workshops in Maine, Florida, Texas, and pretty much everywhere in between. All of that was a way of bringing together what we now call the 5-minute system. She's my very best friend, a very brilliant woman, and she's been a huge help and support. And hopefully I've been of as much value to her. So the question left is, of course, are you going to get involved with the 5-minute system? In the beginning, fairly dramatically, I said we are on the edge of something that will be either a creative force or a totally destructive force. And that thing is the space between our temples. The 5-minute system hopefully will only attract people who will use it for good, for personal development, to be of more service to themselves, the world, their families, their neighbors, their country. Hopefully, this process is not seen by people who are evil and selfish and use it in the wrong way. My deep suspicion is that those 10 to 15 years where Jesus disappeared, and I'm not making this up, there's some literature to support this, that he went into one of the mystery schools in either Egypt or India or both. And some of that knowledge that had survived the pyre of fire in Alexandria, he had partook of that and learned how to use something similar to this process to create miraculous transformations for himself and others, which we call miracles. This is not taking away from his religious standing, his spiritual stature, his charismatic persona. It's just a suspicion on my part of him as a single historical figure who was able to use this system for good. But remember what happened to him. We do a lot of this work privately, secretly almost, for this reason. It's a powerful tool. We just aren't handing it out there on an audio tape for anybody to copy. Not because we don't want people to have it, it's because we only want the right people to have it with the right training to use it correctly. So that's the question. And that part is up to you, whether you're going to get involved, whether you'll use it correctly. My solemn hope and belief is you will.